Ko ora te whare. Ko te tuatahi kei te tautoko i ngā mihi, ko mihia i te ata nei. Ko taumā i tai mai ki te whakanui te kaupapa i tīmata tā tātou nei kingi a kingi tūheitia, me pēhea te huarahi tōtika, hei whakakotahi ai a tātou, tēnā tātou. Kia koe taku kuini. Kei te kō taku ngākau i runga i tēnei hui e noho ana koe. He hara i te whakarongo ki te wero hoki ki a tātou e kia nei ngā kanohui pakake me pēhea te huarahi tōtika mō Ngāi Tahu Māori, mō ngā rangatahi o tēnei ao, hei rangatira mō a popo. Ko tākinei mihi whakamutunga kia koutou o Ngāi Tahu. He rā whakamiharo tēnei. E tīmata ai o tō koutou nei wero ki te krauna, kia whakahoki mai o koutou nei mana whakahaere me o koutou nei whenua, mai tō tipuna, ana i rungi taua rā whakahirahira kei te tino mihi atu kia koutou. Ka pawhai tonu tātou Tiwi Māori mo tō tātou nei whenua, mo tō tātou nei rangatiratanga. I have a different perspective than what's being proffered here. Many of you will know that I am a hapu fundamentalist, and I'm not actually enamoured by the notions of economic capitalism and economic sovereignty if we see those dissected from or disconnected from our philosophies. Our philosophies of whanaungatanga, our philosophies of kaitiakitanga, our philosophies of manakitanga. So I've listened this morning to very important korero about how we disentangle the paralysis of economic development that the Crown has ensnared us within. But I haven't heard how are the philosophies of cooperation, for example, going to work so that we unite the genius of Te Ao Māori to create economic models of cooperation, of community well-being, of oranga mō tātou tamariki mokopuna that aren't tribal-centric, aren't hapu-centric, but ensure that the rich and the poor are going to actually be affected by these matters. I struggle too with models of housing developments when we have an economic reality that our people are unemployed, when we don't have any real solutions for how those unemployed who are the homeless are going to actually be prioritised into those houses without loans. I haven't heard that discussion. What I have heard is, yes, we're making lots of money, that regulation is actually the thing that is stymieing our ability to meet our abilities to meet the dreams that we're dreaming from. But I'm not hearing the second part of the equation, which is how do we make money, but we do that without losing our soul, without destroying the very integration of the whakapapa, tūpapa tuanuku, that ensures the survival of this, our nations, not the Pākehā nations, but our nations, for the next 7 generations. What I have heard is that we don't just want to control assets, but we want to control the regulation of them. But the same talk was said in 1980s by people like Rogernomics about the control of regulation and the establishment of various acts that would enable the disestablishment of regulation. Then we saw massive job losses like what we're seeing now. We saw the loss of the New Zealand Post Office. We saw the shutdown of railways. And that's what I am hearing as the centering of some of the economic korero that we've got here. I remember, because I grew up in Korero, remember? I'm a child of Korero. I am from Murupara and Kaingaro. I remember what neoliberalism did to us. They actually destroyed those towns. We actually became the fodder for economic neoliberalism. What I have heard is a lot of what the New Zealand Institute, the David Seymours, the Nicola Willises are promoting at the moment, very much like the Rogernomics venom of the 1980s. And I really question all of us here to look deeply before we accept the rhetoric of those kind of deregulatory statements. I am committed to hapu rangatiratanga, don't deny that. I've spent my whole life in Te Aroha with 3 aims. My grandmother, after her family were raped by the soldiers in Waitaha Nui, after they stole our land, made it really clear that I went to law school to get back our lakes. to get back our forests, to get back our lands. And I've done it in my generation's time. But by hell, I'm not going to get those things back for them to be deregulated into capitalist frameworks that then see the ownership and the ability to make decisions of that sent into corporate structures that are disconnected from my hapu. Our hapu rangatiratanga is that which will control our destiny, not destinies controlled whether they are brown elites or white elites or indigenous elites. And I'm talking to the men here because you did most of the talking this morning. The women make the decisions on our marae. The women are feeding us here today, and we need to be really clear that we should not be seduced because the capitalist models are models of seduction. I haven't heard the values other than greed, need, and making money. I want to hear the values in the discussion, and so that's to the next speakers. Where are the values of rangatiratanga, of our authority, which are built on our obligations, our iho, our connection to Papatuanuku and Ranginui? Where are the strategies to ensure I love thy neighbour? I want to work not just with Ngāti Pikiao, but with Ngāti Whakauia, but they tell us we haven't even got interest in town anymore. Where are those things that are going to provide the cementing of rangatiratanga, of the kotahitanga that our king said to us? This is the last thing I remember from Omahu. No one should be left outside the house. No one should be left outside the house. This is a house for all of us. Kia ora.